Hello indie game fans, wrapping up March is the usual recap of the best indie game hidden gems with a surprise or two that you might not see coming. Let's begin with Circuit Superstars, a racing game which is absolutely adorable but might be not so indie since they went through Square Enix's indie program, but for how cute it looks, it gets a spot. A wonderful pixel art entry is Dwarf Journey, one where you delve into caverns, fighting goblins, bats and dragons as you go on an epic quest for immortality. This is a roguelike platformer, which is a genre that I love, but does appear to be a smaller experience since people are putting it at somewhere between 3 and 5 hours to complete it. So not that difficult and not that kind of insanely replayable roguelike experience. However, the mini roguelite seems like an interesting space to go along with the mini Metroidvania, so I would love to see more developers try their hand at this. If you love point-and-click adventure games, then you got to check out Inspector Waffles, a very classically designed one of these and even has a wonderful pixel art style. Play as the best inspector of Cat Town Police Department, investigating the murder of a high-profile CEO, where of course, things are more than meets the eye. Get entangled in a web of mystery as you interrogate suspects and uncover hidden clues, but be careful since curiosity did kill the cat. Sir Lovelot is a simple time trial precision platformer which is exactly why it's wonderful, providing a familiar gameplay experience with some beautiful pixel art.
In certain other games, you play the role of a perfectly manicured president who never needs to worry about getting their hands dirty. But real governance is messy, and you will not have that luxury. Here in Basenji, the people have broken the chains of a tyrannical monarchy. As president, their fate is now in your hands. Or is it the other way around? The people of Basenji are a patchwork of urban and rural, religious and secular, liberal and conservative, everything you'll need for a model democracy.
An impressive management sim is Rogue State Revolution, one that has you as the newly elected leader in a new democracy in a fictional, vaguely Middle Eastern country. Make decisions and govern through your cabinet, having to appease the masses, fend off rebels, clinging on to the vestiges of the previous dictatorship, and to position yourself on the global stage in relations with other world powers. It's very cleverly done in terms of management systems, being a refinement of the ideas of this developer's previous entry from 2015. Puzzle games don't get much love, which is why they show up on lists like this, where the pixel art slasher Red Ronin is of interest. It's a slick and stylish sliding puzzle title, and while not a new mechanic by any stretch, slashing your way through hordes of enemies does feel pretty good. It's a classic tale of revenge, where a heroine was betrayed by her former team and goes on a revenge mission by cutting everyone down. The pixel art is simple but it works, so if you enjoyed titles like Slay Away Camp or Keen One Go Army, do check this out. We don't get many 3D platformers these days, so if you have any nostalgia for a very classic genre, I believe Male Mole will be of interest. As the title proposes, you play as a mole who is also a postman, having to deliver the mail in order to save Carrot Land from disaster. Wonderful, smaller experience, this is well made enough and is pretty neat. I do think that mechanic simulators are a very interesting niche subset of the first-person simulator games, which do have a funny way of becoming very popular, where Mech Mechanic Simulator did actually manage to push the envelope just a little. Rather than standard cars or trucks, you're instead dismantling and servicing full-on mechs, looking for an audience that is at the intersection between tinkerers and mech lovers, and seems to have found some success doing so. A true hidden gem in the space is Dogworld, a 2D action platformer where you explore an open world, so some elements of a Metroidvania but not quite, where you do have to battle bosses in order to save humanity from a rogue AI. Based on the structure of the game, it does feel a little like Cave Story, in that it's not quite a Metroidvania but not linear either, so it's somewhere in between, where the boss fights in particular are a highlight here. Almost everything in the game is some form of dog, for better or worse, depending on how you feel. Interesting colour scheme as well, which is effective here, a little bit like Downwell in that respect, and is certainly a hidden gem of the month. If you enjoy survival base builders, then Scrapnaut might be of interest, where the incorporation of steampunk elements did make it get my attention. You can mine, chop trees, farm and more, so all fairly standard for the genre, but does also have a base building element, so it's a little like Factorial in that respect. However, don't expect massive automation since this is not a factory builder, but rather does focus more on the open world survival craft elements, and if you're down for that, do pick this up.
Everyone kept banging on that things were on a roll in this quiet hamlet. Life was a ball. And then one day, the enemy came rolling in.
Still pretty amazed that Bang On Balls Chronicles got made, a 3D action platformer based on the popular webcomic art or meme format Poland Ball or Country Balls, and that turned out to be pretty decent and even good. The comic uses these balls with country flags on them as representations of countries and cultures interacting, so of course there's a historical spin on things, where the various levels are themed around certain periods of history, like the Vikings in Britannia or the Gauls in Rome, cheekily translated into a 3D action title. It does look pretty good as well, making it easy on the eyes, but do bear in mind that this is in early access and seems to be lacking in content in terms of the number of stages. However, great progress so far and would only be getting better. I don't normally cover free titles in videos like this, but I do think that Tadpole Tales is worth a mention, where this fantastically animated cartoony entry is certainly worth a play. Play as the tadpole cleaning up the river of pollution by what else than blasting enemies with projectiles. You could do much worse for a free title, but I'm pretty amazed by the quality here, and the developers do appear to have gained a lot of goodwill for this alone, so do check out their website and sign up to get updates on their next project. I love roguelike platformers, so of course, Space Gladiators gets a spot. Play as a space potato forced into gladiatorial combat in order to escape a prison planet with a delightful look and great action which makes it worth a play. It does feel inspired by the best in the biz, having elements from The Binding of Isaac like the familiars and art style, as well as games like Rogue Legacy and Dead Cells from the action and upgrades, where the variety from run to run is pretty impressive. There are 8 unique characters and 300 plus items, so not as insanely massive, but still a neat title that I recommend. The long in development Genesis Noir also made it to launch, and like Inspector Waffles covered earlier, is a must play if you're a fan of adventure games. However, rather than traditional point-and-click entries, it does have a focus on tactile puzzles, so dialing a rotary phone, unfolding paper, planting a garden and so on, and is definitely an interesting take on the genre. This does have one of the most amazing art styles out there, which, while not for everyone, did amaze me with the visuals and animation alone. It's also a tale of cosmic proportions, where the Big Bang was a gunshot fired by a jealous god, so if at all curious, I would recommend you pick this up. Many of you did ask where was Kaze and the Wild Masks in my recap covering the best indie games of the month, so here it is at the number 1 spot of the hidden gems. Don't get me wrong, it's a fantastic title, but I do generally look at the number of Steam reviews as a gauge of popularity when deciding on hidden gems of the month. It's a very classic 2D platformer, as if this were a lost title from the 90s, with inspirations looking to come from titles like Sonic and Donkey Kong Country. Collect and unlock the power of the wild masks in order to save your friend from mutant and raged vegetables. As a fan of pixel art, of course I love the look, taking the number 1 spot. For more of the best indie games of the month, do check out this playlist and I will see you after the jump.